Let's talk now about the Agenda 2030 implementation. First of all, the Sustainable Development Goals are not legally binding. However, national states took ownership of the Agenda 2030 on 25 September 2015. The 193 countries of the United Nations General Assembly adopted the 2030 Development Agenda entitled Transforming Our World, the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, with goals, targets, and indicators. Countries have the primary responsibility for identifying relevant targets, follow up and review at the national, regional, and global levels about the progress made in implementing the goals and targets until 2030. However, Agenda 2030 implementation requires not only the effort of the national states, but also the involvement of local authorities, private sector, civil society organizations, and individual citizens. The importance of the local authorities in Agenda 2030 implementation, and particularly the SDG 5, 11, 13, and 16, shaping fair project-specific issues. From this perspective, Shaping Fair Cities project focuses on localization of SDGs, the role that cities and sub-national governments need to play in achieving the SDGs. In particular, SDG 11, making cities inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable, and 16, promoting peaceful and inclusive society. Our project is raising awareness in the territory of 8 EU countries and 2 European Union partner countries regarding Agenda 2030, involving citizens, decision makers, civil servants, and civil society organizations, and other relevant stakeholders. The project is taking into account the context of increased migration and refugee flows in European countries and seeks to improve migration governance at the local level, considering also the gender issues. The daily work of local and regional governments is directly or indirectly related to Agenda 2030 implementation. Local governments are the first when dealing with people struck by poverty, and sometimes hunger is an issue even in advanced societies. Local and regional governments manage hospitals, build transport and energy infrastructure, deliver water and sanitation services, disaster response, as well as sustainable city planning, also represent priorities for local authorities. Local authorities are in the first line of defense against climate change issues, and their efforts are contributing to the SDG 13 climate action. Local and regional authorities are responsible for waste management and recycling programs. Local public transport, supervised by local authorities, contributes massively to the reduction of pollution, providing sustainable mobility for modern city inhabitants. Since the work of the local authorities is so linked with the sustainable development, the localization of the Agenda 2030 is improving the efficiency of community management, policies, and delivery of the SDG at national and global levels. The correct way to localize the achievement of the 2030 Agenda is through bottom-up action. We must also consider the fact that SDGs can provide a framework for local development policy responding to current and future problems. The formula to implement SDGs at the local level? Well, A common sense approach regarding SDGs, localization, and local authorities approach could include several actions. A first step might be learning for a start. A very good way to kickstart the process is to organize training modules regarding SDG localization attended by local planners, public servants, elected officials, and development-minded NGOs. Multi-stakeholder partnerships and awareness-raising initiatives regarding SDG localization can inform citizens, especially young people, academia and business sector, and civil society. Another important step is to adapt and update local development plans, taking into account Agenda 2030 Sustainable Development Goals. The localized Agenda 2030 plan should map problems, resources, and indicators to measure out the progress in localization of SDGs. Improvement of Agenda 2030 localization plans can be done through the local authorities' collaboration platforms and alliances. We can learn from one another to help translate global goals into local actions, whether they are local plans, regional development strategies, sustainable programs.